everything that I do currently is shaped around raising up these 10,000 entrepreneurs for 2030. And so I want you to be able to put the pieces together. The summit will help you to see how all the pieces are coming together. Greetings, entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, the show that uncovers the secrets to win with books beyond book sales and dominate entrepreneurship. Through exclusive author interviews, stories, and must-have resources, you will discover some of the secrets and strategies to thrive with books and generate lasting income. I invite you to become an Authorpreneur ambassador and join me in my mission to raise up 10,000 Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030. Spread the word about the podcast and encourage more people to increase their impact and income with books beyond book sales. To get started, visit authorpreneursecrets.com/resources and download all the resources that you need to become a winning authorpreneur. Without further ado, let's get into the show. It's episode 124 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. I'm your host, C. Ruth Taylor, and in today's show, we're going to be talking about the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit for 2024 and Vision 2030 as it relates to authorpreneurs. And so it's going to be a solo show. I want to sensitize persons in terms of what you can expect for next year's summit. So stay tuned. Book publishing has many paths, and just figuring out where to go at each stage can be confusing. But with insights and guidance from author experts just like us, you can tackle the writing process competently and be assured that the goal of being a published author is within reach. Welcome to the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit, the place for Caribbean authors to shine. With each staging of our summit, leading Caribbean author experts at home and in the diaspora share their stories and strategies to win with books beyond book sales. In the process, aspiring and published authors are inspired and lives are transformed. The Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit will ensure that fewer books die in the minds of their authors, more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of each page. Get ready to create, thrive, and win with books beyond book sales. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know I've been talking about Vision 2030, right? And what we're going to be doing in January 2024, January 19 to 20, at the summit is to give legs to this thing. So we already have some authorpreneurs, maybe about 20 of them, but the vision is to have 10,000 Caribbean authorpreneurs who will use books as a platform to transform lives and to create sustainable income for their families, and in essence also build generational wealth. One of the things that I did not consciously recognize, although I was aware of it, is the significance of 2030. 2030 is a significant year. In my own country, we have a Vision 2030 Jamaica, part of our national development goal that Jamaica would be the place of choice to live, work, do business, and raise families. And so all the government's efforts and the different things that are being done is to bring this vision to life. Will it be fully achieved by 2030, which is another, call it 6 years, because we're almost at the end of 2023. Perhaps not fully, but it is something that you can work towards to make life better. And one of the things about 2030 is really the UN Sustainable Development Goals and their 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So, and I've been saying for a while that in terms of my dissertation, I really want to explore authorpreneurship as a model for poverty alleviation because that's what it has done for me. And I'm seeking to replicate that in the lives of people. And it hasn't come by merely selling books. It has come by seeing books as a platform. And so as I look at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, two goals in particular stood out. Number one is no poverty. Now, poverty is something that I have been familiar with, and there are different levels of poverty, right? There are at least 4 types of poverty, and I'm not going to get into all of that. Maybe at the summit, I can break that down a bit. But I remember when God revealed that to me, that books are a way out of poverty. And then I heard another aspiring author, 2, in fact, before they became authors, repeated the very same thing. And then at the 2022 summit, Nerissa Golden, who's been featured on this podcast many times, said that her books took her out of poverty. And so I want to show people how to do that. And that is why this podcast started. And if you remember back in the day, the early intro, what if a book were a way to gain financial freedom? You know, let's discuss that. And so no poverty is the number 1 goal there that resonated with me. And then number 8 is decent work and economic growth. And so number 1 and number 8 seriously resonate with me. And I like number 3 as well, good health and well-being, because I believe that our books are like trees. And there's a passage of scripture that talks about the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nation. And I have experienced firsthand emotional healing, all kind of healing that has come from books. It's a reason why I am alive today. It is because, literally, because of reading 2 books and something that was said in the book that literally gave me a reason to continue living. So I'm passionate about books, but not for some of the reasons that, is popular. So everything that I do currently is shaped around raising up these 10,000 authorpreneurs for 2030. And so I want you to be able to put the pieces together. The summit will help you to see how all the pieces are coming together. So as I revise the Authorpreneur Secrets book, this is going to be the main equipping tool to raise up these authorpreneurs and to shift our understanding of how we view books. And I tackle that at the very beginning of the revised edition of the book. So in the introduction, I begin with the verse that I used to end the podcast of late, since returning from the break. It's a quote from Ecclesiastes chapter 12, 12b, and it says, "Of making many books, there is no end." And if we're going to make many books, right, we're going to need publishers to publish these books. And so I believe that one of the ways that we can fast track and make the authorpreneur vision possible by 2030 is to raise up more publishers. And so publishing education and training is going to play an even bigger part in what I do. So that is why I established the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy in 2020. And we're going to be relaunching that. And that is why we are revising this book And it's going to have authorpreneur stories. It's going to have examples. It's going to teach you how to write, publish, and how to generate lasting income from your book beyond just merely selling it. Because a book is really a powerful tool, and the entire ecosystem around it, if you really look at it broader than just selling books, you will see that a book really is a vehicle for a vision and a tremendous platform for endless possibilities. And so let me just give you a little peek into the revised edition of Authorpreneur Secrets, which is really about how you can write your story or a small nonfiction book fast and publish it cost effectively, because self-publishing is expensive, and that often hinders people from really getting their stories out and creating this asset that can be leveraged for multiple streams of income that can change their economic situation. The introduction to the book says, for far too long, the prevailing gauge of an author's success rested solely on book sales and the coveted title of bestseller. Yet imagine a realm where the triumph of books transcends mere sales figures. This is precisely what authorpreneurship or author entrepreneurship aims to accomplish. Drawing from personal experiences and compelling case studies, this book unravels the possibilities and offers an alternative path to success for authors, liberating them from the unfortunate fate that befalls 95% of independent authors who face financial setbacks with their first publication. Within these pages, you will glean insights on how to quickly write your book, publish it without breaking the bank, all under the modest sum of US $1,000. The goal is to effect transformative change in lives and cultivate a lasting income stream for you, your family, or your organization. So that's how this book opens up after the testimonials. And I'm going to be putting it on pre-order soon after redesigning the cover, so you can pre-order it. The summit is going to be like a triple treasure thing. It's going to have the academy launch, the book launch, and the Vision 2030 campaign launch for authorpreneurs. We're going to focus on the authors who've come through the academy and what they've been able to achieve. Some of them now are publishers. And to achieve Vision 2030, to raise up those 10,000 authorpreneurs, if we certify 50 publishing coaches and help them to start their own publishing business, I believe within 5 years, these publishing coaches would be able to produce 200 books. That's helping 200 authors, perhaps first-time authors within the Caribbean and the diaspora, to publish their book cost effectively and then create at least one profitable initiative around that book that will bring lasting income in addition to book sale. And that is the minimum target. And the aim is just in the same way that I have been able to use author entrepreneurship to gain economic sustainability and freedom, where I'm no longer dependent on the generosity of others to survive. And I'm in a position to help myself and help others. That authorpreneurship can do that. And especially if you utilize your skills in publishing. I mean, you can create book-based businesses. You could turn your book into a course and other things. But if we get more publishers, what that does is that it feeds into goal number 8 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which has to do with job creation, you know? And so the whole ecosystem of publishing does that. And if the making of many books, there's no end to that, then we need to raise up more competent publishers, because many people, they may even be familiar with the publishing process, but they don't want to really take it on. So they're looking for persons to manage it. And so that's part of what is happening. It really, for me, is winning beyond book sales. There are a number of benefits to being an author. I always say that books open doors. Books are great conversation starters. You heard from Dawn Forrester Price interview last week how the book has helped her to tap into the diaspora community, to reconnect with Jamaicans, and she really misses hearing, you know, the Jamaican accent. And since publishing her Jamaican heritage book, that historical novel, she's been able to connect with more Jamaicans living in the diaspora. And books can help to build communities. Books can start movements, you know, because it's a platform to get your message to the masses. Books have helped me to build some tremendous connection just by being an author. I've been able to get into rooms I otherwise would not get into. My best friend today, I connected with her because of my first book. Somebody bought the book and introduced me to her. And a lot of the people who play a chief role in my life in this season, it is because of books. It is because I'm an author. So I want us to look beyond the book sales. And so the summit will be focused on these elements. So we're taking the thing to a different level. Of course, day one is going to be our legal deposit day. It's also going to be the day we talk about session one. We're going to talk about writing and publishing made easy. So if you are still unfamiliar with the process of publishing and you're still not sure how to write a book, if you're not on the Rocket Writing Challenge and didn't get the prep tips, you can come to session one. That's January 19 at 10 a.m. Eastern. And you don't want to miss that. And then in the evening now is at the 7 p.m. session is when we are going to be launching the Authorpreneur campaign, the book, and the academy. And so I'm using the time now to rebrand that. Then on the Saturday, we hope, that's January 20, the aim is to focus on some author support organizations and AI as a tool that, you know, can help authors. So I'm working on securing the guests for that. So that would be ideally Saturday. And then the closing session, Saturday evening at 7 p.m., we're going to be looking at publishing success paths. And this is something you could consider to go from being just an author to being a publisher and becoming one of the 50 publishing coaches that we're trying to raise up, that I'm trying to raise up to fulfill that authorpreneur vision for 2030. I trust that I've piqued your interest enough that you'd want to come to the summit. The summit is going to be held in the Authorpreneurs Facebook group, and we're also going to be streaming it on YouTube. And unlike previous years, we're not going to restrict anything this year and put it behind a paywall. But you will be required to register so that you can get the Summit Toolkit, which will give you resources and information to help you on your author journey. And so as soon as the page is ready for sign up, and I've confirmed all the guests, by the end of this month, you can start registering for the summit and invite your friends and anybody who wants to become an author to come. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. I am excited about it. And so Let me know if you found this episode helpful or inspiring or insightful. And as you look at the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, which of them resonate with you? Let me know. Send me an email at authorpreneursecrets@gmail.com or just leave a comment on this video on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. This is an audio episode, and so you will just have the image up there and hearing the sound, but you can comment and you can share it with friends. As we close out the show, just reminding you of that quote from Ecclesiastes 12b, of the making of many books, there is no end. So go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.